is William K. Murtaugh, Witness 1. And what I'd like to talk about today is crying wolf. Now, a couple weeks ago, Timmy Hoffa made a declaration on his obscure right-wing video site that a group of people had made death threats against his adoptive parents. And he named who they were. He put up what he declared was proof of the threats, and so on and so forth. And after a while, it seemed like nobody was doing anything about it. So on February 28th, I called the local sheriff where Timmy Hoffa's grandparents lived, and I informed him of Timmy Hoffa's accusations. And I told who exactly it was he was accusing of making the death threats and why the alleged death threats were taking place. And I waited 2 weeks, which was on St. Patrick's Day, to call them back to see what the progress of the investigation was. And I found out that the investigation had been closed. The detective informed me that I was the only one that called them, that he had not contacted them, he had not contacted the state authorities, and he had not contacted the federal authorities. And they felt that if the son of the grandparents didn't feel it was important enough to call them and ask for an investigation into the death threats, then without any further evidence to go on, it did not seem important to them to conduct an investigation. They needed more information to go on. They felt that there was inadequate information, and thus they could not go forward with any investigation. So the matter is closed, subject to any new information. Now, the question has to be, since Timmy Hoffa was so concerned about the safety and welfare of his grandparents, that he would go and make a video declaring that these threats were made, why didn't he follow through on that concern and notify law enforcement of these threats? Why has no mention of these threats been made since that date? Well, one has to conclude it is because there were no threats to begin with. Timmy Hoffa made it all up. Timmy Hoffa, being a master of computer graphics and video editing, along with his handler, simply created this stuff out of thin air. This is not the first time they've done this, and it will not be the last. They are famous for it. And their expertise shows in the videos that they make almost on a daily basis. The fancy graphics, the creative editing, so on and so forth. This is, once again, proof that these people are masters of media manipulation. So, this is the problem for Timmy Hoffa. There is a tale out there that we probably have all heard, at least most of us in my generation, and that is the little boy who cried wolf. There was a little boy who was a sheep herder who would go into town, cry, he's seen a wolf and so on, and the townsfolk would come out and they would hunt down the wolf, and of course there was no wolf. And this went over and over again, repeatedly, until the point where the villagers said, there's not going to be a wolf. We're not going to pay attention to the little boy when he cries wolf. And the one time there was a wolf, the townspeople did not show up, and the rest is history. And this is where Timmy Hoffa and his group are. They have played the victim card so often and so much that people have dismissed the victimology. They're beginning to realize that these people are full of it, that what they say is not true. And this creates a perilous situation because now, if someone were to make a threat and to follow through on the threat, they stand a better chance of getting away with it, at least in their mind, because people aren't going to believe the threats. They're not going to believe when it happens to them. They're going to call it a hoax. They're going to call it a fraud. And it's going to be all because these people died because of a lie, because they lied one too many times. And it may happen, it may not, but we'll stay tuned to see. Now, on part 2 of my little monologue today, there was more discovery in the Neely Blanchard E-Clause murder case. The state has filed discovery about fingerprint information and a CD that is purportedly of pictures of the gun. Now, what's not known right now is if this is all going to be publicly available before the trial, or are we going to have to wait until after the trial proceeds to obtain copies of this information? It is something I'm checking into, and if I'm able to obtain this evidence, I will post it. Otherwise, we're going to have to wait. And so that's where we're at on the Blanchard case. The Field McConnell case, there's a hearing the 24th of February, or 24th of March, excuse me. And in the Cynthia Absug case, I haven't heard anything on that yet as to when the next action will be in the court in any discovery that has been issued by the court, to the court by the prosecution. So it's one of these stay tuned, see what happens situations. And so with that, I ask that you please like, subscribe, click the notification button, and share. And stay tuned as we go forward with these trials and other subjects that may be of interest to you. This is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1. Have a good one.